I want you to listen to this audio because it's so telling, and then we're going to take some calls on this on the other side. This is Donald Trump a few days ago putting George Floyd into his sentence. I guess he said it clearly, so I guess that makes it okay. But Donald Trump praising the economy and saying George Floyd would be happy about it too. Have a listen to this.
They have to receive fair treatment from law enforcement. They have to receive it. We all saw what happened last week. We can't let that happen. Hopefully George is looking down right now and saying there's a great thing that's happening for our country. There's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody. This is a great day for everybody. This is a great, great day in terms of equality.
All right, I'm laughing because it's so despicable and ridiculous. He's talking about the economy and a dead man who just died at the hands of law enforcement. People are grieving. His family is grieving. He's not even 6 feet in the ground yet. Is that okay? Let me pose the question to our listeners. Is that okay with you to hear the president of the United States gloating about the jobs report that came out and saying George Floyd, who is now dead, would be happy about it too? We're going to open up the phone lines, and we're going to take some. Hold on.
Will you give him credit for the job report, Brian?
If you can give me credit for giving out the phone number, give me 1 second. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, the number to call, 702-257-5396. We got to take a break. I'll answer your question when we come back. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. We will take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You are listening to the Vegas Take right here on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously talking about some of the big-name Republicans that have come forward, including George W. Bush, Colin Powell. They've said Colin Powell said he's going to be voting for Joe Biden. George W. Bush said no way. He is not going to be supporting Donald Trump. Hasn't come forward yet, anyway, and said that he's going to be supporting Joe Biden or not. Don't know if that's going to happen. But we're also playing some audio, which I think is absolutely disgusting and despicable, and that is Donald Trump on Friday basically praising the economy but invoking George Floyd's name while taking an economic victory lap of a man who is deceased, who has died at the hands of law enforcement. And the reason why, or at least the face of the reason why people are protesting throughout the country about the racial divide and racial tensions, but Donald Trump decided to put George Floyd's name into his economic lap of victory. So I want you to listen to this. This is Donald Trump in his own words mentioning George Floyd while bragging about the jobs report. Have a listen to this.
They have to receive fair treatment from law enforcement. They have to receive it. We all saw what happened last week. We can't let that happen. Hopefully George is looking down right now and saying there's a great thing that's happening for our country. There's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody. This is a great day for everybody. This is a great, great day in terms of equality.
It's a great day for George. He's dead, Donald. He's dead. So what do you think about that, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think it's okay for the president to bring up George Floyd in a speech about the jobs report, basically putting words in the deceased George Floyd's mouth, which to me is disgusting. And by the way, one of his family members came out and said that it was a disgrace. Number to call, 702-257-5396. Again,
by the way, Brian,
if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-257-5396. Why do you interrupt me at the worst possible
No, I asked you a question before we went to break. I said, are you going to give Donald Trump any credit for the 2.5 million jobs added?
Okay, so let me respond to that.
That's a question.
Okay, so let me respond to that. First of all, me giving credit for the jobs report has nothing. These are two separate things. Has nothing to do with him bringing up George Floyd. Let's make that very clear distinction.
That's totally understood, Brian. But the question is, are you going to give him credit for that? 2.5 million jobs added in 1 month is the most in American history.
Okay, I was trying to answer that.
Okay.
I just gave you the first part of my answer. It's two separate subjects. Him bringing up George Floyd has nothing to do with it. Now, you haven't commented on what we're talking about yet. And then I'll answer your question.
Of course not. Why? First of all, George Floyd would not care about the job market.
Okay, but
that statement makes George Floyd was foaming from the mouth and he had so much fentanyl in the system that he could have died 4 times over.
Nothing to do with it.
He was high on drugs when he was arrested. George Floyd would not care about the 2.5 million jobs added. So Donald Trump shouldn't even have mentioned his name in that statement.
Whether
the two don't correlate. They don't make any sense.
Hold on. Whether he would have cared or not, do you think it's appropriate for the President of the United States to put George Floyd's name in taking a victory lap about the jobs report? Do you think it's appropriate?
Again, the two don't make sense together in general.
So you agree it's not appropriate?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Why you want to bring up jobs, fine. You want to bring up George Floyd, fine, but bring them up separately. Together and jumbled together like that does not make any sense. So here's my take on the jobs report and Donald Trump, and I've been pretty consistent about this with every president. If you could name me specific policies that Donald Trump has put in place in the last several months to help create jobs during the coronavirus, then I will gladly give him credit for it. PPP, Payment Protection Program, to specific business owners across the country to maintain their employees, opening up restaurants, et cetera. How can you not give Donald Trump any credit for 2.5 million jobs, the most jobs ever? Brian, the estimated unemployment was supposed to be 20%, and it ended up being 13%. It's going to keep going down and down as well.
So let me
how can you? I understand, like, you don't want to say that you have Trump derangement syndrome, but if you can't give Donald Trump credit for this, then it's really hard to argue that.
Let me respond to that. First of all, Donald Trump didn't open up any restaurants. It was the governors that did that. So that's number one. You're wrong about that. Number two,
based on his guidelines.
That's number one. The governors are the ones that have control. So no, I'm not going to give the president any accolades for restaurants opening up. That's ridiculous. Number two, you're going to talk about PPE.
No, PPP.
I'm sorry, PPP.
Yeah, Payment Protection
I
Program.
Understand.
Right.
So I personally believe that any president that was in office during this time would have done that to protect these local businesses. I believe any president would have done that. So that's the answer to your question. Now I'm going to get to the phone call. 702-257-5396 is the number
so
to call.
You definitely have Trump derangement syndrome. It's confirmed.
All right. Well, if you're going to say
let's talk to the callers.
Okay, so if you're going to say that, then I'm going to say you were the Donald Trump.
I don't at all, Brian.
And you have Trump fellatio syndrome.
I actually just criticized Donald Trump less than 4 minutes ago.
Okay, yeah. Wow, it's a record. I still think you have Trump fellatio syndrome.
That makes no sense at all.
You could perform fellatio.
No, now you're just trying to insult me.
No, you're insulting me.
No, because
how does it feel?
I'm not insulting you.
Yes,
you have Trump derangement syndrome.
You have Trump fellatio syndrome.
You cannot give Donald Trump any credit for anything.
And you go down on the president every day.
I don't at all.
Okay.
That's the last thing I do.
You have Trump fellatio syndrome. Wipe your mouth. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you're first up on the Vegas take.
Hey, what's up, Ron?
Man, I'm telling you, I've been listening to you for years. Turn you on after I got off work, and you are completely, absolutely out of your mind.
What have I said that's out of my mind?
Joe Biden doesn't lie. What about the Burisma and the Ukraine thing has been investigated, and there's no there. Absolute lie. Every time Joe Biden gets in front of a camera, he lies. And the guy.
All right, so let's go with that. All right, Ron, would you like to have Would you like to have a conversation, or are you just going to be an idiot?
No.
Would you like to have a conversation, Ron?
Brian, you've never been a sportscaster, have you? Have you been a sportscaster?
JD, I'm not going to answer that because I'd like to have a
conversation. I don't think you have been.
Okay, let me know when I can have a conversation.
Of course you can.
Ron, would you like to have a conversation, or are you just going to spout BS?
That he could say or do.
All right, so you're not going to listen, Ron. You're just going to keep blabbering because you're a right-wing buffoon and you're not going to have a conversation. So you want to talk about Burisma, okay? By the way, there's no evidence to support the fact that Joe Biden lied about any of that stuff. Okay, well, so you're just gonna blabber on, okay? Go back to your right-wing buffoon, shows. Go listen to InfoWars. Go listen to Wayne Allen Root. Go listen to Ben Shapiro and shut the F up.
Hey, by the way, Wayne Allen Root is putting together a massive protest this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be massive.
It will be huge. I'm very confident it's going to be
just like
huge.
the open quarantines. I'm sure it'll be huge. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. See, when somebody calls up, I'm more than willing to have a
good call, Ron.
When somebody calls up, I'm more than willing to have a conversation with them if we disagree. But if you're just going to spout nonsense and you have no facts to back up any of your ridiculous buffoonery opinions, then you're an idiot. 257-5396. Let's go to Philip. Philip, you're next on the Vegas take.
Hey, what's up, Philip?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, well, I just think by listening to Donald Trump, and politicians and themselves, what you become to listen to is a numbness of things that they say, whether it's Joe Biden or Trump himself. People out there, they're hurting. And the things that Donald Trump is saying, you come to be numb from the things that he do and the things that he say. And the only reason why he's doing this is for his supporters themselves. he's trying to gain the support of his followers.
I agree with you. I think I give you a perfect example why I agree. When Donald Trump decided to go in front of that church and hold up a Bible for 20 seconds and use the Bible as a prop, there's no question he was not only doing that for himself, he was doing it for his base, and it was an utter disgrace. So I completely agree with you, and I think it is sad in this day and age in society that we have people on both sides of the aisle. If I could just finish, both sides of the aisle, both Republicans and Democrats, that are, not all of them, but most of them, that say things and do things just for votes, and they're speaking to their base instead of representing all of them. So, listen, sir, I completely agree with you.
You don't think that when Joe Biden said that you ain't black if you don't vote for me, that he was pandering to his base, or that he was attempting to pander as well?
I will also go.
Or when he made up the story about being in Africa, that was a combination of three different war stories together.
So that's two questions
for a different crowd.
That's two questions.
Joe Biden panders significantally more than Donald Trump. And had Donald Trump actually gone into the church and picked up a Bible and started reading from it, you would that would be a huge amount of pandering, because that's not who Donald Trump is as a human being.
So you asked me two questions. I'm trying to remember both of them, but that first question, here's something that Joe Biden did that Donald Trump never does. Joe Biden apologized. Joe Biden said he was wrong. Joe Biden went on with Charlemagne the God, and he made that statement. You ain't black if you're voting for Donald Trump. He's since apologized for that. You couldn't give me one example of Donald Trump saying something ignorant and stupid, whether it be on Twitter or at a press conference where he apologized. Wait, hold on.
I will agree with that. Donald Trump does not apologize.
Okay,
in fact, he typically doubles down.
The best thing
will totally agree with that.
The best thing a man can do is when he misspeaks or he says something that's inappropriate. The best thing a man can do is apologize. Donald Trump is no man. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Gary. Gary, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
What's up, Gary? By the way, how does Trump have 5 kids?
Good morning. I just want to let you know something. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. If Joe Biden wins, he's going to apologize to you guys, because he's going to eventually get together with Black Lives Matter and end all this white privilege talk radio show. You guys will be replaced with one black guy that is for Trump and one black guy that's against Trump.
Hey, Gary,
what do you call it? Yes,
Gary, hang on a second.
I'm an idiot. I know.
No,
here we go.
Gary, I'm not going to call you an idiot, but hold on a second. For the last several weeks and for the last 10 years of my talk radio career, I have always been on the side of minorities and the fact and the trials and tribulations that they have to go through on a daily basis. I've also supported these protests, so long as the ones that are not violent or the people that are violent. I support Black Lives Matter. I support their movement. I understand where they're coming from, and I have sympathy for them, as I have sympathy for the Floyd family, even though they're going to have about $30 million in their bank account. Money is not going to bring back George Floyd. So why is it that you would call this show a white privilege show? I'm just curious.
Because we're white.
All talk radio. All talk radio. As much as, I like and I dislike Wayne Allen Root. I don't even want to bring up his name. Like, he's got 2 shows now. That's not white privilege, and you don't think someone's going to jump all over that when the president goes to the Democrats? Oh, yeah, they're going to get you're next. You guys are next on their hit list.
All right. Well, who's going to replace us? Urkel? I'm just curious. Who's going to replace us?
I believe Jaleel White is 47 years old, Brian. He's way older than you are.
How about General Colin Powell and, Larry Elders? How about that combination?
That could be effective.
Well, they're both very.
Honestly, after Trump wipes the floor with Biden in November, I would love to see a Candace Owens versus Michelle Obama.
Never going to happen.
2024 presidential run.
You're on crack.
That would be 100%. That would be 100% policy and issue based election, and race would be totally out the window. That would be the ideal 2024 presidential election matchup to me.
I'll make any
Candace
wager.
Owens versus Michelle Obama.
I'll make any wager with you right now. There is absolutely zero chance that that's going to happen, and zero chance that Candace Owens will ever run for president of the United States. I'll make that bet with you right now. I'll bet you anything.
You know, the video that she put out talking about George Floyd was viewed 70 million times. I ran a poll on
Paris Hilton's porn was seen 700 million
that's
times.
That's not even close to the same thing.
Well,
Brian.
Don't talk about views.
That makes no sense at all. Don't associate Paris Hilton, getting a sex tape with Candace Owens putting out a video.
I think a lot of those views. Here's the thing. So Trump retweeted that video of Glenn Beck and Candace Owens, and I think a lot of people went to go see it because they wanted to see what the president was retweeting.
Exactly.
And a lot of those people are probably opponents. I don't. Honest to God, JD, I don't even know who Candace Owens is.
Yeah, exactly. 702-257-5.
I really don't. I know she's a black woman commentator. I don't know if most people in America know who she is.
Let's get back to the phone calls.
I would totally disagree with that.
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Alex. Alex, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Alex?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Good morning, JD. I hope you guys had a really nice weekend. JD, you're absolutely right on. I've got to say that George Bush nicer than Donald Trump. I'm going to repeat. I'm going to say basically what you just said. No way. When you've got blood on your hands with hundreds of thousands of people dying in Iraq, no way Donald Trump hasn't even come close to that. The other thing is, I really hope, I'm going to say one more time to all the listeners, none of us are ever deciding what color we are going to be, black, white, Hispanic, tall, short, fat, bald, whatever. So we have to look at each other as human beings.
And Americans.
Well, yeah, especially in this country, we got to unify as Americans. As far as that Drew Brees comment, I agree with everything he said, except the timing was horrible. I agree with what Brian is saying, but I think the black football players that are complaining, I think they have to understand one thing, that when you do that in front of me, being a Hispanic, I love this country, and the way I look at the flag, it represents all the civil rights that we get in this country.
Alex, I don't mean to interrupt you, sir, but we're going to be touching on that. We're going to be touching on that subject in about 10 minutes, okay, sir? I don't mind you commenting on that, but we just try to stay on topic, all right? Alex, I do appreciate. No problem. It's okay, Alex. I appreciate the phone call. We're still talking about Trump injecting George Floyd into his comments a few days ago in regards to the jobs report, which is a disgrace. 702-257-5396. We're going to get to Colin Kaepernick. We're going to get to Trump pushing back on players taking a knee here in just a few minutes, and Drew Brees. All that coming up at the top of the hour. But now let's go to John. John, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, John?
Hey, man. JD, if you want to double our bets, I'd be glad to double it if you're up for it. I don't know. $100.
What's the bet?
$100?
Yeah, all right, hold on a second. The listeners have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Is this Brian? Is this legal? Can I wager money on air?
Before I worry about whether this is legal or not, I want to give the listeners any idea of what the hell you two guys are talking about. John, can you please explain what the bet is?
We have a $100 bet that Trump is going to. I believe Trump is going to lose, and the terribly, very nice, but terribly misguided JD still holding out hope on his boy Trump. So. If you
you guys can
JD,
make that
I'm
bet.
all in, man.
You could do that.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it at $100. I'm not trying to double any wager with you. That being said, I'm confident. I'm confident that it has nothing to do with my confidence. I just don't want to wager, double on $100. But I'm confident that Donald Trump is not only going to win, but he's going to win by the largest margin since Ronald Reagan.
Oh my God, you talk smack. But hey, the reason I called is Trump's comments were just absolutely. What a distorted mind he has. I mean, for somebody who inherited $400 million, I mean, aren't you Republicans sick of electing these men or these man children, and I include W in this group, that really did nothing in life but win the last name lottery? So, I think I love Colin Powell's comments. He called him a liar. He called him what he is. Say, I love you, Colin Powell. You're the great. And is there a more respected member of the Republican Party? I don't think so. And I think what you're seeing here is karma is finally going to bite this man in the butt. It's all starting to crumble around him. And karma, like the bunker boy, is a bitch.
I like that call. I tend to agree with. Thank you for the call, by the way, John. We appreciate it.
Yeah, good call, John. Colin Powell has actually backed Democrats for quite some time. George Bush was a surprising one. But again, George Bush most likely put us into a war under false pretenses. And I think that a lot of the country is remembering that. And also, you see what's going on politically right now. You have extremely radical viewpoints that Joe Biden is either going to have to go with or go against. And if he goes against them, like, for example, Mayor Bill de Blasio defunding the police, what's going on in Minneapolis, that's going to cause some serious problems, because I don't care if you're Democratic, Republican, Libertarian, you want protection. You need protection for various reasons.
Number to call, by the way, 257-5396. It is interesting because those people that say that others have Trump derangement syndrome, those are the same people for years that have been defending George W. Bush, have never said he had blood on his hands, but now all of a sudden that George W. Bush comes forward and says he's not supporting Donald Trump, Now, all of a sudden, some of the conservatives and Republicans are going to start bashing George W. Bush. There's a word for you guys. It's called cowards. 257-5396. Let's go to Lewis. Lewis, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Lewis?
Hey, guys. Well, here we are again. 5-6 years into this thing, Donald Trump said, look, most people don't like what he says, and that's okay. And George Bush can support who he wants. That's okay. And so can Colin Powell, because that's what this country's about. But here's the thing that the haters and the Democrats still haven't figured out. I still think they're trying to win 2016 when it's 2020.
What are you talking about? Joe Biden is running for president in 2020.
Sure.
George W. Bush says he doesn't. Hold on. George W. Bush said he won't support Trump. We have Colin Powell. By the way, it's not Colin Powell. Let's get his name right. It's Colin Powell. Okay, he's a hero, and he just said that he will be supporting Joe Biden. This has nothing to do with 2016. It has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton. She is in the past. If anything, it is Republicans that are injecting Hillary Clinton into this and her stupid emails, and they still want to talk about Benghazi. That make no mistake about it, sir. This has everything to do with November. Hold on. This has everything to do with. Hold on. This has everything to do with November, and it has everything to do with Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. I didn't let you finish, sir, because you're 100% wrong. Now go.
Okay, well, look. People, I believe, that voted for Donald Trump and that are going to vote for him again don't care what he said. And
I disagree.
If you look at the Democrats,
no, they don't.
There is nothing over there that is appealing to me. And right now, our governor and the Democrats are starting to embrace defunding the police. And that position right there, any logical...
All right, let's go with that. Hold on.
They're becoming apologists to radical viewpoints.
Not true.
And a lot of the country is recognizing this.
What is?
And if you think that the 800,000 protesters or so that have been protesting all across the country for the last week, because a lot of them are repeat protesters, if you think that is a large percent of the country, you are wrong. That is less than 0.25% of the country.
All right, well, I want to go to what Lewis just said. Lewis, can you name me one thing that Steve Sisolak says that would suggest that he is considering defunding the police in Las Vegas?
Well, didn't you see his little press conference that he had the other day?
What did he say? What did he say?
He didn't specifically mention
defunding
the police, but he was very, very adamant. Very, very adamant.
What did he say?
About the Democratic position. So,
what did he say?
That's all I'm saying. You know what? You've got producers. I'm late to work.
Okay, well, you know what? Obviously, I have callers, too, that have no idea what they're talking about. You're right. Because you just mentioned our governor, and you can't mention one thing he said specifically about defunding police, yet you bring up his name and want to pile him into Minnesota.
Well, I will tell you this. Our governor did just shut down the GOP convention this next weekend in Reno and cited social distancing issues, but he is allowing thousands to protest and casinos to be open.
What does it have to do with defunding police?
That has something to do with our governor going out of his way to try to hurt the Republican Party.
Okay, but that doesn't have anything to do with defunding
in a total double standard situation.
So Alex called
which is
up,
completely insane.
Was that Alex? I'm sorry, that was Lewis.
That was Lewis, yeah.
So Lewis called up, and he said this is about 2016. That obviously made completely...
No, he's saying that he believes that the Democratic Party is treating this like it's 2016, which I think in a way is kind of true.
Okay. Not true at all. So that's what Lewis said. This has everything to do with, as far as the Democrats go, this has everything to do with getting Trump out of office in November. So this has nothing to do with 2016, and that statement makes absolutely no sense. Then Lewis wants to interject Governor Steve Sisolak, just because he doesn't like him, because this man who called up is a Republican. He interjects Steve Sisolak, and he said Steve Sisolak wants to defund police. And then I said, can you name me one thing that would suggest that Steve Sisolak wants to do that in the state? And he said, well, he didn't really reference that specifically because he didn't. Let's go to Andy. Andy, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Andy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, so... Brian, you said you support the Black Lives Matters, right?
I support the movement and those that are not violent. Correct.
Sure,
yes, sir.
I do as well, as long as they're not interfering with people.
Go ahead, sir.
So then you support defunding the police?
No, I don't. I don't support everything they do.
It's on their website.
Right. So let me be clear to you, sir. Just because you support the movement does not necessarily mean I support every single one of their ideas. Do you understand the distinction? When I say I support the Black Lives Matter movement, it is what they're doing as far as these protests go and racial equality. That is what they're doing that I support. I don't support every single one of their ideas. Just like when you vote for a president or a politician, you support them, but it doesn't mean you agree with every single one of their policies. Do you understand that, sir?
So why haven't you come out to say that you don't agree with the defunding the police?
Okay, I'll say it right now if that'll make you feel better. I don't agree with defunding the police. With that being said, okay, I do agree that there needs to be better police training. I think these police officers need to be more educated. I do believe that
costs money.
Yes, it does.
Course,
There's a lot of things in this country that cost money.
And I think that there should be more minority police officers. There should actually be a quota in place especially for places that have strong inner city populations that may or may not have a lot of minorities living there. And I think that they should be paid more money. Absolutely. But reform is totally different than defunding or, in the case of Minneapolis, disbanding.
I don't know what's so difficult for anyone to understand. Just because you support a candidate doesn't mean you agree with every single one of their policies. Just because I say I support Black Lives Matter doesn't mean I agree with everything they're doing or all their ideas. It's very simple, and I hope you understand that, sir. I really do. I stand by what I said. I support the Black Lives Matter movement.